Yo, what's going on guys? Jake Cloud here, and I just finished watching the first episode of Bleach 1000 Year Blood War arc. And wow, what an episode, and I just have to say that I'm very excited that Bleach is back. And honestly, it feels very unreal to me that I'm sitting here reviewing the first episode of this arc when this arc ended for me when I was back in high school. Now I'm 27 years old, ready to break down and explain the first episode to you guys. So yeah, it's been a long time since I waited to see this arc animated. It's also been a long time for me to tell you guys to subscribe to the channel, notification bell is on, and leave a like on this video. Now let's break down and get into the nitty-gritty of this episode. Now, the episode starts off where we hear the voice of Yhwach iterating the song, which is an indication of his return, and this is a quote that is very important that we're going to see often in this arc. We then switch over to the Soul Society and the Research Development Institution, which is being alerted that many of the Hollows are disappearing at an alarming rate because it's destroying the Hollows' very existence, and we know that there's only one group that can do that, which Mayuri alludes to, that it has to be them. They are the ones which are the Quincy's, because the Quincy's, they do not cleanse the Hollows, they completely destroy their very existence. Where the Soul Reapers, their very job is to cleanse the Hollows. We then switch to Karakura Town where we see this mysterious Quincy using Hollow Bait. Switching over, we then see the two new recruits from Squad 13, which was sent there in order to protect Karakura Town. It is explained in this episode that the reason why these two new recruits are here guarding Karakura Town is because the Soul Society does not want to constantly rely on Ichigo fighting the Hollows, and also this town is known for having a high rate of Hollows showing up. These two new recruits are named Shino and Ryunosuke. Ryunosuke then tells Shino that they don't need to be here because this town has Ichigo, a very powerful Soul Reaper. So why is the Soul Society even sending them there? But another factor here is that the Soul Society does not want Ichigo to only fight and only focus on fighting because it can get away with his human life. However, Ryunosuke is trying to give Shino every excuse in the book to not be here because he is extremely terrified to fight the Hollows. But Shino, she's not buying it at all. She's telling him to get his act together, and that's when they start to split by guarding different areas. But of course, Ryunosuke does not want to do this. He doesn't want to be alone. One of the things that I do love about this episode is how they showed how detailed Karakura Town is. It's beautifully animated. And if we're going to be getting episodes that look like this every week, then man, we're going to be feasting with the animation. And the designs of the Hollows, oh man, they look ugly as usual, as Ryunosuke quickly runs into one and finds himself in trouble. And he is scared out of his mind, which he chooses to just run away, don't even try to fight back. The whole time he's running away, he's trying to get in communication with Shino, but he ends up finding her already caught by a hollow. And one thing I can say about this episode that we will have for the whole season is that they will not hold back on the blood whatsoever, which I'm extremely fine with because this is the 1000-Year Blood War arc. This manga got really bloody in this part of the arc. Ryunosuke now knows that he has to fight back because his back is against the wall, but he gets quickly struck by a hollow. And we see this shot of blood just splattering out in the air. The moment he was about to get hit by this hollow, we then see Ichigo and the gang show up to save him. And man, I got chills when I saw this, especially when they start playing the new remix of the #1 theme song. Seeing Ichigo, Uryu, Chad, and Orihime in this 1000-Year Blood War arc animated all together, this was just beautiful to see. I got really hyped when I saw this. And seeing Ichigo using Bankai, it was magnificent because this was pure fan service. Ichigo did not need to go Bankai using this against the hollows because this did not happen in the manga, but I do love the golden electricity Ryatsu around him. It was extremely pleasing to the eye. And we see Ichigo sweeping off all these hollows with one blow using Getsuga Tensho. Goosebumps all over when I saw this scene. I definitely replayed this about good 3 times. This was the first 9 minutes of the episode, and honestly, it felt to me that it went by quickly, and maybe because I was so invested on watching this that it went by so fast for me. We then switch over to Ryunosuke waking up 2 days later in Ichigo's room, and he's freaking out because he's realized that Ichigo and the others are the people that saved him, and he was so amazed by their powers that it actually frightened him. As he was panicking, he asked where is Shino, realizing that he was asleep for over a day. And she shows up with drinks and she starts to cry seeing him that he's awake, but then she starts to attack him because she was pissed off that he was asleep during those days. While everyone is having a good time eating the food that Orihime brought to them, quickly the tone of this episode changed dramatically when this Quincy that's named Ibrin showed up on Ichigo's bed. Of course, the new recruits from Squad 13 are freaked out, where everyone else like Ichigo, Uryu, Chad, and Orihime that are used to situations like this, they are more calm but alerted. Ichigo is repeatedly telling Ibrin to get off his bed, but Ibrin is not listening, which forces Ichigo to do a swift kick at Ibrin, while Orihime is opening up the window for him, which sends him flying outside of the room. One thing they notice about Ibrin's appearance is that he's wearing a hollow mask, which Uryu alludes to that he might be an Arankar. We also see another shot of Uryu when Ichigo went off to go fight him that he gives off this look that he knows more than what he's letting off. Ichigo then starts to question Ibrin and asks him what's his objective, why are you even here, and why you have a hollow mask, are you an Arankar? And Ibran gives off this odd, mad, and disgusted expression when he hears the word Arrancar. It's like he gets offended when he heard the word Arrancar, which would make a lot of sense in the episodes to come. We then switch over to the Rukon district, where we see Ikaku and Yumichika are theorizing that the citizens' disappearance in the Rukon district was abducted by their own people. After seeing the footprints, they were left because they know for a fact that this was not caused by hollows. But despite their theories, they don't know the true reason why the people of the Rukon district disappeared to begin with. We then switch over to the general captain, and we see that he's sensing his assistant captain Sasakibe in danger. And like I said, they are not holding back on the blood and gore in this series for this arc, because man, you see one of the Soul Reapers that was going to report to the general commander, he gets beheaded by the intruders. And then we see the assistant captain getting blasted in that area with blood gushing everywhere. And you see blood just dripping down from his zanpakuto. And man, despite the animation, the art and the lighting in this episode is just stunning. It really sets the mood of what we're about to witness for this series, especially the OSTs in the background. The Stern Ridders then inform Yamamoto that in 5 days there will be war upon the whole Soul Society, and that they will be annihilated. As they were leaving, we then see the general commander releases his zanpakuto, and we see the destructive power that was displayed by the flames. Now, switching back to Ichigo versus Ibran, because he did realize once he saw the Quincy symbol that he had to be a Quincy as well, just like Uryu. And even though this fight wasn't an all-out brawl, I did have a lot of fun watching this fight. The voice acting was spot on, and I did love the choreograph in this fight. However, Ichigo started to realize that Ibran is taunting him the entire time, repeatedly telling Ichigo that he needs to use his Bankai, and eventually Ichigo fell into the trap and he did use the Bankai. This is exactly what Ibran wanted, but it did not work out in his favor. Soon as Ichigo went Bankai, he sees that this thing that Ibran summoned, he's wondering what the heck is that, which is an item that he used to try to steal Ichigo's Bankai, but it did not work. Further down the line later in the episodes, you will understand why this did not work. Ichigo then confronts him and he tells him that he has a lot of questions to ask, because Ichigo is wondering why did he try to make his Bankai disappear? Why does he has a hollow mask and he's not a Arrancar? However, he's a Quincy at the same time. Ibran then disappears with the shadow the exact same way the intruders left the Soul Society, saying this shadow only hides the chosen. It then takes us to Sealburn, the Quincy Fortress, which we then see the subordinates of yours truly, Yhwach. And this episode concludes in a very gory way with his subordinate arguing with Ibran, with Yhwach ripping his arm off saying enough. And man, this scene was quite gruesome, with Yhwach saying I dislike conflict. And this episode concludes with Yhwach listening to the Stern Ridders reports, and man, this episode was really good. All in one episode, it was able to cover from chapter 480 to 484. But I will say this, to cover that many chapters in one episode, the pacing was solid. Very excited to see the next episode, cannot wait for it. Comment below and tell me your thoughts on how you felt about this episode. Are you excited that Bleach is back? Also, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. You guys have an awesome life. Take care of yourselves, stay blessed, and I'm out.